Hello, my name is Ethan Leitner, and this is going to be my Module 8 Technical Skill Diagnosis and Prescription video. So basically what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to provide a video of me through one of my races, and from there I'm going to be kind of like providing some feedback and almost like a diagnosis for how I did, and based off like how what I did in my video. So basically what's going to happen is we're supposed to pick a drill. In this case it's going to be me in a race, and I'm going to look for two technical skills while I'm at the race, and that's going to be pacing and proper running form. So I'm going to show a video or maybe a couple clips of me throughout a race, and then kind of get into the second part of it, which is the feedback and diagnosis. So this first clip I'm going to show you here is the beginning of my race. And like I said, one of the technical skills that I'm looking for is proper running form. And at the beginning of a race, I want to have a slight lean forward and, be in a neutral spine position. And let's go assess and see if I was able to do that. As you can clearly see in the video, it looks like I got, my spine's, in a neutral position. I got that slight lean forward. Everything looks good here. So I would overall say, yes, the beginning of my race, looks good with running form. So this next clip is going to be in, the middle of my race, and we're going to be looking again for, my running form and how I'm doing. I want to be, I was at a 90-degree angle, and I want to be in that relaxed rhythmic state. So based off the video, you could see that for the most part, I look like I'm in that, relaxed rhythmic state. You can see like my legs are, having some trouble moving and look pretty tight. And that's kind of like taking me out of that. It somewhat looks like I am, I guess. But for the most part, I'd say maybe towards now, my form was starting to break down towards this middle, the end of the race. And my elbows could be more at a 90-degree angle. They're more like out like that, not like all like that, but just like a little bit out. They're looking more like maybe like a 60-degree angle or something like that. So I want to get those more at 90-degree angles. So overall for this one, I would say my running form does not look good here. This next clip of me is coming in and finishing the race. And I want to be come to an effective stop, and then overall assessing my race at the end. I want to have a average cadence of about 175 to 185. So based off this clip, I came to an effective stop. Like everything looks good there, but my cadence was a little bit low this race. It was a little bit closer to like 165 is what my watch had. So, I want to hit more of that 175 to 185 range. So overall for this one, I would say I'd say probably no. Just because my cadence was so far off that goal range that I want. Although I came to an effective stop. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about my pacing during this race. So in order to be good at pacing through the first half of the race, you should stay about 1 to 7 seconds on pace, and the same thing goes for the second half. So what I knew going into this race, that the course was going to be pretty difficult. It wasn't going to be a fast day, and I wanted to run kind of close to like 16 flat. That was kind of my goal, which is about just under 5:10 pace per mile, like 5:08 or something like that. So I came through the first mile a little bit faster than that, and about like, I want to say, I think it was like 5:05 or something like that. And I remember hitting the 2 mile at this race around like 10:15. So I was like right on pace. 10:15 is like 5:07. So the first half of this race, I would say my pacing was pretty perfect. I stayed in between that 1 to 7 second range. But then second half of the race was not good. I fell off the pace a lot, and I was definitely way over 1 to 7 seconds. And although I came into a 2 mile at a good pace, that last mile I was kind of alone. I didn't really have anybody with me, so I pushed with, and I had a bad close overall. Although I was still I was trying hard. So first half of the race, my pacing was good, I'd say, but the second half, I should have gotta work on getting stronger, at least based off this video. So yeah. And like I said, my goal for this was to run like around 16 flat. I never run 16:55. So I really fell off, that last mile. So I got to get stronger on that last mile. So did I meet the criteria consistently? Like overall, kind of assessing, like the first half of my season. Do I do these kind of things that I stated? So for me, I would say that, for the most part, that I, did a pretty good job with proper running form. I would just actually no, I don't know. It was iffy. It could have used some work. Like I would go out in races and I would always be good like through the first half, but the second half of the race I just had a really hard time staying in that relaxed rhythmic state like I talked about, and I would just, my legs would get heavy, the lactic acid would get to me, and I would just, I would slow down a lot, and that was kind of like a big thing for me all season. So I guess just like at the beginning of the race, yes, my form looked good, everything looked good, confident. But then second half of the race, I just really broke down form a lot, and it happened a lot. So in terms of pacing, I would say pacing also, at times I would be really consistent and stuff. It's just I would say kind of like the same deal as like proper running form. For me, the first 1 to 2 miles of race, I could always get out super good and on pace, what I wanted to. I mean, my first mile would always be a little bit faster than my second, but I always get through it. But it's always that last mile that got me. Like, I remember like a lot of my races, I would be on pace for faster what I wanted to run, but then I would run slower. Like, so basically what I mean is like I would come through the 2 mile and this is my goal for this race. I'll come in the 2 mile a little bit faster than that goal pace, but then by the end of the race I would run slower than my goal pace just because my last mile was so bad. So pacing good at the beginning of the race too, kind of, and then towards the end bad. So overall just kind of working on getting stronger towards the end. So I would say I met the criteria at the beginning of my races, but at the end, no. Now that I talked about the assessment, I'm going to be getting into a little bit of feedback. So, looking at this from a coach's perspective, I would say I kind of explained, a lot of this already, but I'll just kind of like briefly, sum up what I talked about. Yeah, just basically, everything looked good at the beginning of the races in terms of proper running form and pacing. It's just the end where I'm starting to fall off. So just from coach perspective, I really need to focus on, getting better at the end. And now I'll kind of, sort of get into a recommendation of what I think I can do better to get better at these technical skills towards the end of my races. So as a coach, one thing that I would tell this athlete, me in this case, to modify such change the way I'm racing, I would say just go out slower. I think if it's a pattern of every single race I'm falling off the pace and I'm breaking down my form, then I think that I should modify how I was racing, and I did it in the season, but just hypothetically, I mean I would say that more like I don't really want to run like a 15:35K that season, so I would usually try to get out like 5 flat or faster and just kind of hold on to it. That was always sort of like my goal going into big fast races at least. So I think even getting out a little bit slower than that and trying to stay. Actually, no, I'm not even going to say that. I'm going to say, going out at like 5 flat. But that second mile, maybe not pushing that as much so I have room for the third mile. Just like kind of, I would try to like tell my athlete to get this in his head. And just like once you like get past the first mile, just remember that you still have that last mile, Remember how bad, you've been hurting those last miles, how hard it's been to, get through those, and just sort of, focus on, relaxing more in that second mile and backing up the pace a little bit so you can still maintain that goal pace through the last mile. Because, obviously, this is a problem with this athlete. So I think just, yeah, like I said, just, really focusing on that second mile, easing up on that second mile, making sure you're still getting out fast, because that worked pretty well for me, especially at a lot of big races. I didn't have to deal with like getting boxed in or anything, but just that second mile, like I said, just relax the pace on that. And I think that this is something that can even be worked on in like practice too. Like for example, like I said, having trouble with proper running form and pacing at the end of the races. Sort of like taking like workouts and like making sure that like ending like just like ending fast in your workouts. So like say if you have a 5 mile tempo run, making your last mile the fastest, or if you do like 400-meter repace, making that last 400-meter your fastest. So like ending the workout faster will help you kind of simulate that in the race. And then again, just like assessing the proper running form and the pacing towards the end of the race. Looking at these workouts when they are, maybe their last rep is the fastest, but are they still, they can hit the pacing obviously, but can they still maintain proper running form and not break down? So just through racing, like easing up that second mile a little bit, and through practices closing fast and still maintaining proper running form with whatever sort of workout they're doing, I think is the best way to get this athlete to fix these skills that they have been struggling with, specifically at the end of races.